This is Jamaica, a nation surrounded by some of the most pristine beaches on Earth. Yet the people who live there won't swim in them. A Caribbean paradise where wearing the wrong pattern on your shirt could get you detained. A tropical island where beauty standards flip everything you know upside down, and where street corners transform into philosophical temples every afternoon. And everything you think you know about this island is about to collapse. What we discovered goes far beyond reggae music and resort beaches. We found a country operating on frequencies most outsiders never tune into, where ancient African traditions collide with modern Caribbean life, creating something that exists nowhere on the planet. The 15 realities we're about to reveal will dismantle every postcard image you've ever seen. Number 15. The Ocean Paradox. Walk along Jamaica's coastline during sunset, when National Geographic's photographers capture those magazine-worthy images of golden light dancing across turquoise water, and you'll notice something unsettling. The locals aren't swimming. They're working. Jamaicans have built one of the world's most recognized beach destinations, yet most live their entire lives within sight of the Caribbean Sea without ever diving beneath its surface. In Port Antonio and Treasure Beach, fishermen spend 12-hour days under the scorching sun, pulling nets and gutting catches mere feet from water that tourists pay thousands to experience. But ask them to swim out past the breakers, and you'll see genuine fear flicker across their faces. This isn't preference, it's a cultural phenomenon rooted deep in the island's history. Swimming lessons don't exist in public schools. The ocean isn't a playground, it's an employer, a source of income, a vast blue factory floor. 7 Mile Beach sits eerily empty on weekends unless someone's selling Bob Marley shirts or cracking coconuts for visitors. The very thing the world envies about Jamaica is the thing Jamaicans themselves actively avoid. Number 14. The Beauty Revolution. In Kingston's markets, you'll witness something that contradicts every Western fashion magazine ever printed. Women strut through crowded streets in form-fitting dresses that celebrate every curve, wearing their figures like crowns. Here, slim isn't a compliment. It's almost an insult. Jamaica stands alone as perhaps only place on Earth where gaining weight is an active pursuit for marriage eligibility. Women consume herbal supplements and calorie-dense local diets specifically to achieve fuller figures because Jamaican men have made their preferences clear-cut. Curves aren't just beautiful, they're essential. 90% of the population carries African ancestry, and the women here have transformed their heritage into a daily fashion declaration. Walk through Montego Bay's commercial districts, and you'll see a Caribbean runway show, vibrant patterns, bold jewelry, elaborate head wraps, and confidence that radiates from blocks away. This isn't rebellion against Western standards, it's complete indifference to them. Jamaica created its own beauty language, and the world hasn't caught up yet. Number 13. Paradise for pennies. While Americans drain retirement accounts to afford Florida condos, thousands have discovered an alternative that sounds too good to be real. Jamaica offers beachfront living for less than half the cost of any major U.S. city. A small house in Treasure Beach or Ocho Rios runs between $400 and $600 monthly, roughly what Americans pay for a parking space in San Francisco. Local eateries serve full meals for $3. With $1,200 to $1,500 a month, retirees hire gardeners, housekeepers, and personal chefs for $10 to $20 daily. They wake to fresh tropical fruit picked from their own trees, breathe salt air that carries hints of jerk spices from street vendors, and embrace a relaxation that doesn't exist in American suburbs. But this paradise carries a hidden price tag. Public healthcare infrastructure crumbles under demand. Emergency services crawl. Number 12. The fabric that gets you detained. You can wear Rastafarian colors, arrive at five-star hotels in flip-flops, or dance through streets in costume that would stop traffic anywhere else. But bring one specific pattern to Jamaica and you'll face genuine consequences. Camouflage. Not just military jackets. We're talking backpacks, hats, children's sandals, Nike athletic wear, anything featuring that distinctive pattern. Tourists landing at Norman Manley and Sangster International airports have been pulled aside and forced to change clothing or abandon items entirely, even expensive branded gear. The law isn't written explicitly anywhere tourists can find it, but the cultural prohibition runs absolute. In Jamaica, only defense forces wear camouflage, and civilians sporting the pattern create security confusion while disrespecting the military institution locals hold sacred. Resorts in Montego Bay post actual signs warning guests against wearing camouflage to dinner. The enforcement isn't just official, it's societal. No Jamaican would ever wear the pattern in public, not even a small accent piece. This unwritten rule reveals something crucial about Jamaica. The military commands respect through cultural force more powerful than written legislation. Number 11. Women who lead and pay. If you believe men should cover first dates, Jamaica will reprogram your assumptions permanently. Here, women routinely pay, not just initially, but throughout entire relationships, and they do it proudly. For Jamaican women, the ideal partner isn't defined by income, but by domestic contribution. They want men who cook, clean, genuinely care for children, and show emotional presence. Wealth ranks far below character. Recent surveys captured responses that sound radical to Western ears. As long as he loves me and helps at home, I'll handle the money. The data backs this cultural shift. Jamaican women achieve higher education levels than men, operate small businesses at impressive rates, and lead household finances without apology. They run restaurants, manage investments, and support partners without shame. Meanwhile, Jamaican men openly celebrate having successful girlfriends and wives, flipping traditional gender dynamics entirely. Perhaps most shocking, you can register for marriage in Jamaica within 24 hours of being present. The country has streamlined commitment itself.
Number 10. Where streets become restaurants. Forget white tablecloths and leather-bound menus. True Jamaican cuisine exists on sidewalks, served from half-cut oil barrels transformed into grills. Jerk chicken, marinated with Scotch bonnet peppers that could weaponize, sizzles over wood fires, sending smoke signals through entire neighborhoods. Vendors chop coconuts with machetes while balancing them between their knees. Corn gets boiled and served with coconut rice in a combination that shouldn't work, but somehow does. And then there's the real star, Caribbean crab. Found nowhere else on Earth, this white-shelled creature with massive claws gets boiled in makeshift pots placed over car rims, seasoned with secret spice blends passed down through generations. Priced between $3 and $15, each crab contains yellow roe that vendors scrape off unless you specifically request it, a local delicacy tourists miss entirely. You eat with your hands, standing in the street, while locals watch like you're performing dinner theater. Over 70% of Kingston residents participate in street food culture not as novelty, but as daily routine. Living museums without walls. Jamaica turned its streets into art galleries without asking permission or charging admission. Walk through Kingston, Spanish Town, or Trench Town, and you'll see dozens of artists painting directly onto buildings, buses, coffee shop walls, any surface that stays still enough for a starry night. Red, yellow, and green, the Jamaican flag colors, dominate most pieces, constant reminders that people here never forget their origins. But art extends beyond murals. It's on buses decorated with Bob Marley's face, in coffee shops where every inch carries graffiti, and in the middle-aged women who spontaneously dance dancehall at bus stops while strangers cheer. Over 70% of Kingston's population has participated in at least one community art project. Art isn't luxury or entertainment. It's how Jamaicans process existence, turning every corner into a living museum space that evolves daily. Number 8. Sunday silence. Dance to reggae until 2 a.m. Saturday, but try buying alcohol Sunday morning and you'll hit an invisible wall. In towns like Montego or deep in the Blue Mountains, laws prohibiting alcohol sales exist quietly, without fanfare or posted signs. Walk into stores with beer in hand on Sunday mornings, and you'll receive polite headshakes and knowing looks that translate to, "You're clearly not from here." Some shops drape cloth over liquor shelves like they never existed. This stems from Jamaica's deep Christian roots, where Sunday remains sacred, for church and family, not for partying. Locals avoid drinking publicly near churches or in front of elders on Sundays. Religious tradition weaves through daily life in ways tourists miss entirely.
Number 7. Hair as identity archive. On Kingston streets, hair tells stories before mouths open. Among thousands of styles, dreadlocks dominate, not for fashion, but for philosophy. Dreadlocks symbolize Rastafarianism, the religious and cultural movement embedded in Jamaica's soul. Practitioners let hair grow naturally, uncut, viewing human bodies as sacred temples. You'll see them selling fruit, playing horns in reggae bands, elderly men with silver beards and twisted locks like living Caribbean history. Many young Rastafarians avoid smartphones, refuse meat, and meditate under trees each morning. Hair isn't aesthetic choice, it's biographical statement, spiritual declaration, and cultural preservation wrapped together. Number 6. The language that sounds like weaponized poetry. Jamaica ranks as the largest English-speaking Caribbean nation, yet most communication happens in Patois,
Jamaica problem no, but we try to make.
a bold fusion of English, West African languages, and indigenous Caribbean tongues that sounds like freestyle rap performed at double speed. Two Jamaicans conversing in Patois create walls of sound that leave outsiders bewildered. Children speak it fluently, while adults switch to it for authentic emotional expression. In markets, vendors don't just talk, they perform, using microphones to announce goods like radio hosts, while buyers haggle like street battlers. Standard English exists for tourists and official business. Patois carries the nation's heart. Number 5. The parallel universe of Rastafari lands. Step into 9 Mile, Bull Bay, or Trench Town's Rastafarian communities, and you enter territories operating on different principles than the Jamaica tourists photograph. These aren't just neighborhoods, they're philosophical strongholds where over 1 million followers worldwide trace spiritual ancestry to Ethiopia's Zion. Life here follows the Ital diet philosophy. Food as life force, body as temple. No meat, alcohol, canned goods, or processed anything. Only whole foods, green leaves, root vegetables, peanuts, ripe fruits, picked from gardens and cooked over wood fires. They never cut hair, allowing dreadlocks to grow as symbols of divine energy. Over 80% remain lifelong vegetarians, not from trends, but spiritual commitment. Despite simple lives, they radiate health, calmness, and longevity that defies modern nutrition science. Number 4. The nation within the nation. Hidden in western Jamaica, descendants of escaped 17th century slaves built something unprecedented. Autonomous communities with their own language, laws, and rituals, completely separate from the rest of the country. The Maroons, living in Accompong, Moortown, and Charlestown, operate as a small nation within Jamaica, with special autonomy recognized by government. They have community leaders called colonels and celebrate annual Maroon festivals honoring ancestors who fought for freedom. They preserve Cromonti, a dialect blending Ghanaian Akan and Creole spoken nowhere else on earth. They believe in ancestral spirits, conducting ceremonies with war drums and all-night campfire dancing. They don't live by clocks, but by sun cycles and harvest seasons, timeless rhythms from another era. Number 3, the Parliament of the Sidewalk. Jamaican sidewalks aren't walking paths, they're outdoor debating chambers where dominoes echo like national heartbeats. Every afternoon, from Kingston to smallest towns, games unfold on wooden tables surrounded by plastic chairs and passionate crowds. Dominoes function as unofficial sport here, with tournaments, teams, and unwritten rules about throwing pieces with proper force. Some places use microphones to amplify laughter and arguments, transforming sidewalks into actual stages. Jamaicans don't just play dominoes, they debate World Cup results, elections, weather patterns, gas prices, and exchange rates. Each game becomes a living talk show happening daily without invitation. Elderly and youth participate equally, and visitors need only smile to receive game invitations, rules optional. Number 2, from Sin City to Fishing Village. Port Royal once earned the title Most Notorious City in the World, the Caribbean piracy capital, where infamous figures like Henry Morgan drank, laughed, and ruled the seas from brothel-lined streets overflowing with rum. They called it the Atlantic's Sin City. Then, in 1692, a massive earthquake sent most of the city beneath the ocean in minutes. Divine punishment, locals whispered. Today, Port Royal is a peaceful fishing village, so quiet you hear individual waves lapping against ancient docks. Fishermen depart each morning in old wooden boats, returning to sell catches directly on site. Their lunch, run-down seafood cooked with coconut milk and local spices over wood fires, gets eaten on plastic chairs with hands, always accompanied by laughter. But Jamaica still holds another unwanted title, among the world's highest violence rates. Areas in Kingston and Spanish Town carry warnings against nighttime visits. Paradise and danger coexist in uncomfortable proximity. Number 1, the shadows after dark. Like any nation, Jamaica contains corners that tourists should approach with awareness, especially in Kingston, simultaneously the cultural heart and home to neighborhoods that guidebooks strategically omit. Areas like Tivoli Gardens, Trenchtown, and Spanish Town aren't suitable for solo nighttime exploration, especially for unfamiliar visitors. Petty crimes persist, pickpocketing, bag snatching, so phones and valuables belong in secure backpacks, never displayed casually. Street vendors and unofficial guides often charge inflated tourist prices. Negotiate beforehand, and when possible, consult trusted locals. Most critically, Jamaica remains a malaria and hepatitis A and B risk zone, especially in rural areas and traditional communities like the Maroons. Get vaccinated before traveling, pack medical medications, bring insect repellent. The paradise comes with invisible biological threats that sunshine doesn't disinfect. We've journeyed through 15 realities that shatter Jamaica's postcard image, not to diminish the island, but to reveal its authentic complexity. This is the Jamaica beyond resort walls, where contradictions create culture, where ancient traditions breathe through modern life, and where paradise and hardship dance together in the Caribbean sun. The question isn't whether Jamaica matches your expectations. The question is whether you're brave enough to experience the real version.